Welcome, everybody, to the Pleb Underground. We are going to dive into some interesting news that came out today. I don't think it's going to be a huge shock, but here we go. Let's dive right into it. As if the Nobel Prize couldn't become any more watered down and insignificant, here we go. Nobel Prize in Economics awarded to trio including Ben Bernanke for work on financial crisis. Okay, that is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, let's take a step back. Let's take a look at when Ben Bernanke first got elected to the Fed board. Okay, so here we go. Ben Bernanke led the Federal Reserve's response to the financial crisis of 2006 to 2010 and the Great Recession. Okay, so I want you guys to think about this. Okay, in 2008, the banks got bailed out. Main Street footed the bill. Okay, so the average everyday mom and pops like you and me, we pounded sand, while all the bankers and their friends got a handout. Okay, so there's that piece of it. Now let's take a look. Let's take a look here at how much money the banks have printed since 2008. Right, this guy's getting a Nobel Prize for the financial crisis, for his work in the financial crisis. So what he did must have been absolutely incredible, right? I think it's a lot more underwhelming than we think. Anyways, major central banks have printed 25 trillion since 2008. That's right, 25 trillion. Since the U.S. Federal Reserve initiated its first quantitative easing program during the global financial crisis in 2008, central banking has been turned upside down. Oh my gosh, no way, what a shock, because they can't stop printing. And the key to it is this, right? They've always only had the money printer. But essentially, as they print more and more money, it becomes less and less easy to mask that it's only money printing. Anyways, the world's 4 leading central banks have increased their quantitative easing QE programs by a total of 9.1 trillion to support their own economies and the operation of international financial markets. That's right. There are no other tricks in the bag. There is only money printing and the raising and lowering of interest rates. Okay? They're juggling. They're circus clowns that are juggling. Okay? And unfortunately, they're juggling with our time value. That's what the bankers are doing. Okay, let's take a look at the money printing. Here we go. This is the M2 money supply. This is absolutely insane. And we can see that the arc just starts to go parabolic in 2004. And then all of a sudden, a picture is worth 1,000 words. This is the US M2 money supply. And as we can see, after 2016, it goes absolutely parabolic. Let's take a look at 2004. The real rise begins in approximately 2004 and then becomes much more aggressive as time goes on. And of course, in 2020, we had the virus which shall not be named, and that just gave all of the major governments excuses to print as much as they possibly can. We've set the stage. Let's go back and let's take a look at that CNN article, okay? Because all we did was read the headline, and then we just had to set the stage for the ridiculous nonsense that is the Nobel Prize. So here we go. 3 U.S. economists were recognized by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences for their work in the early 80s, which the Institute said provided the foundation for our modern understanding of why banks are needed, their chief vulnerabilities, and how their collapse can fuel financial meltdowns. Bernanke, who led the U.S. Central Bank during the 2008 global financial crisis, received the award for his research on the Great Depression. His work showed that bank runs were a decisive reason the crisis became so severe and entrenched. You see, this is the beauty of all this. And also what's sad, they're not going to tell you the truth. Ben Bernanke, you don't think for a second that he knows that the money printing is the problem? He absolutely knows that the money printing is the problem. But he's not going to say it at all. Instead, they're just going to give all these other reasons as to what's happening and why, but it's complete nonsense. All it is the money printing. It is the only trick that they have because literally that's what the whole entire fiat system is based on. Anyways, people had seen that banks fail, but it was more thought of as a consequence of the crisis rather than a cause. Well, let's back up. So banks failing was a cause of the crisis. Very interesting. Anyways, John Hassler, who serves on the Nobel Prize Committee, said at a press conference, now the views of Bernanke have become the conventional wisdom. So look, as if we didn't already know that the Nobel Prize is just a complete scam, I think that this absolutely outlines it beyond the shadow of a doubt. I want everyone to really think about this, okay? The 2008 financial crisis, this is what I said at the beginning of this clip. In the 2008 financial crisis, the people that needed money the most were the ones that lost it. Okay. And again, we're not going to dive into people's, poor behavior, poor financial strategies and habits. Every single person is entitled to live whatever way that they want. But the reality is that there were there were poor loans that were packaged with good loans. And all of this crap, sorry, mortgages, not loans, mortgages, and all of these were grouped together and sold, okay, as high quality investments. And this is not the case. They were not high quality. And the people who got these mortgages, these subprime mortgages, they unfortunately they could not afford it. And don't get me wrong, don't think for a second that it didn't seem too good to be true, because it absolutely did. But the problem is that you want to believe that it's real. So these people went out and they got these mortgages and they believed, some of them believed that they could pay it. Others knew, 100% there's not a chance that I could afford this, but hey, they're giving it to me. But look, at the end of the day, okay, the reality is that the banks got bailed out. People like Ben Bernanke are being given awards. Okay, they're being given awards for doing absolutely nothing. Okay, he did nothing. This is an illusion. All that happened was a bunch of rich bankers got a whole lot richer and many assets became more centralized. That's all that happened. The Nobel Prize is a shitcoin.